Bill's right on time. I like it. But just winds it right up.
Still got to walk you through the process.
See, that's always does this thing.
Have you signed any of them?
Not any of ours, I don't know.
Oh, but he has.
He's been signing a bunch.
Just about 10 of them that have been signed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I didn't know if he did all of
he
them.
vets them, like he vets them, he doesn't just, they don't just slap them on his desk. He signs them.
He goes up early.
Oh, yeah. He knows. But it has the rate of return. I'm sure there's one of that. No, there won't be. There will be a rate of return.
Ready? All right. Good. Welcome to commission meeting today at the, what day is February I forget, the 21st already. Man, like well,
Yeah.
month of January went pretty slow. Today, February seems to go by a little quicker, right? So thanks for being here today. We appreciate all you audience being here today with us today. Also, I'm actually going to start on my right, and I'll let you introduce yourself and go around real quick.
Ginger McMullen, Clerk Auditor.
Von Christensen, County Attorney. Von Christensen, County Attorney.
Thank you.
Tammy Pearson, Commissioner.
Brandon Yardley, Commissioner.
Stephanie Lawrence, Commission Secretary.
Thank you. Now, Commissioner Hollingston will be chairing the meeting today. So, thanks for being here with us today. We're going to start by having Councilor Vaughn give us a benediction, opening prayer, off by him, and then Stephanie will lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, we are so grateful to be gathered here this morning in this public service. Father, please be with us this morning as we discuss the important business of the county. May there be a good spirit among us, feelings of goodwill, and may we be able to reach conclusions and find solutions to problems that would be in the best interest of the people we serve. Father, please bless our nation. Bless those within our community who may be facing struggles and challenges. We accept and appreciate thy hand in all we do and ask for these blessings and seek thy guidance in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Steph. Thank you, Mom. Okay, bills. Get those bills passed out here.
Can we ever get that projected for the citizens to see too?
The bills?
Mm-hmm. The only thing that's ever up there is the agenda
Yeah.
in the future.
The bills also available for public inspection. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, unless it's designated as a private protected record, I would think anyone could just want it on the street book.
I think it's public record, right?
Right, yeah. So I'm just thinking, we could certainly have them on the screen, but
The only thing is the report, I'm not sure if you know how to read it. Only because, well, you probably could.
The city does a list, and then they slowly scroll through while they're reviewing them. And then if we have any questions, we can address that later.
They wouldn't comment on it.
We would comment,
Yeah.
address it at a different time. But we have no idea they're looking at.
So I could probably email them to you, and you could probably project it.
Just put it in the packet, right? Just be part of the packet.
Well, that or, like, if we email them out to you guys and
Yeah.
stuff, I can probably download them and email them to you. I think they're in chronological order.
All right, we've had a chance to view the bills, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve the bills.
Got a motion?
I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes, thank you. Let's see, Jen, I think if we're just a few minutes ahead, let's keep going.
That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
Thanks
hopefully
for being here today.
stay that way.
How are you today?
Good.
Good.
How are you guys?
Very good, thank you.
Good. So I just did a comparison on, the other facilities in the county versus our facilities, so you guys can see we're pretty comparable on everything. And my only, change really is the Tusher Campground site going to 20 per day instead of 12. And that is, because of the Forest Service recommended that. They are all at 20, so they want us to be at 20 also. And it correlates better with the group site rating for the 160 and the 100 and the $60 per night on them group sites. So it really makes more sense on that because we were charging the higher rates on all those group sites, and really if they just renewed them each individually, which you really can, that was cheaper to do it individually at the 12 versus the group site rate.
So the pavilion site, what does that include?
5 sites with that big pavilion.
I couldn't remember, I knew there was so many.
That coveted spot that everybody wants.
Yeah.
It's not available anymore for the summer because
Is
it's
it
not
already
booked
out?
Yeah,
Really?
everything's booked out, yeah.
Are we on a 2-year reservation with them?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's like online, they can only do it a year out, but if they call, I can do it for them 2 years out.
So that site's already rented out the whole entire summer?
Every weekend, yes. I think there's a few days that are available during the week on that site. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep, every weekend, got something
When
going
you
on.
gonna open up there?
Huh?
When
Yeah,
you gonna open?
depends on snow.
That's why I'm saying that.
The first weekend in June, so we're hoping that
Oh,
it's
in June?
available, yeah, the first weekend in June is when we typically open. But there's been times when there's snow, and we haven't been able to open until the end of June.
What was it, 4 years ago?
Mhm.
That we had
Yeah.
all that big snow?
And there was still snow when the kids went up there for 4-H on the 21st of June, yeah, so, yeah.
Wow. So currently it's at $12, you should go to 20. Yeah.
So is that our only change?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Mineville Lake's still the same, pretty much,
Yeah.
nothing's changed there.
Yep. Which has been good that, Tusher was booked out last year for, or, pretty much by the end of last year for all the church groups. So then we've had church groups start scheduling winners for campground.
Really?
Yeah, I've got 2 youth groups that are coming there that wanted to go to Tusher but couldn't. And I got another one that's calling and asking for a site. And I'm like, there's just nothing left at Tusher Campground for the days that they want. They're looking for, till Saturday. They don't have anything on Saturday.
So can you start to rent that place starting January 1 for the year, or when do you?
On Tusher?
Yeah, Tusher.
It typically was January 1, but it's just a year out, so it's
So in June.
So in June for the next year, you can go for it.
Yeah.
Right. Most places are getting to be that way, we're doing the same thing as you are, like you gotta book everything a year out, at least a year in advance.
Yeah.
If you're not locked into like a 2-year contract, just so you can lock the dates in and you don't have to plan.
Yeah, I just noticed today on my, email from the county that people are booking for 2024 on Memorial Weekend down the river. I'm like, wow.
They're getting ahead of things.
Yeah, they're getting ahead of things so that they can guarantee their spot.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That was another question. Okay, so we've got some issues right now at the reservoir. So we got the electrical stuff figured out yet?
No, not that I'm
We
aware of.
haven't made it down?
Mm-mm. Yeah, I know it's been, still needs to
How
go
is the
out.
reservoir going?
It's going, it's just slow right now, but it's just cold and miserable.
Are the ice fishing much?
Not a whole ton. I think the ice is just real sketchy, so it's got people worried about, it was almost all the way off in January when it warmed up. And then it froze again, and I just think people weren't really, certain that it was gonna stay frozen enough to get on it.
Well, they lost a kid last week in Twilla.
Yeah, yeah, so I'm grateful that they're not testing the waters out there, but they've got lots of open water out there along the, north side more than the south side.
And you
But
don't know
there's-
for sure with 50-degree weather. it's
Yeah,
not
it
gonna
was
be.
55 yesterday when I went down there to check it and things, and like, holy cow, but it really wasn't thrown that much, but that still is where that fresh water's coming in along that side. There's a lot of open water there and a lot of ducks and stuff down there, so I'm sure that it's not real frozen right off the ramp and stuff, but that one cabana is about 10 feet away from the water. It blew down in there.
Depending on how the snow comes off the mountain,
Yeah,
I'm not sure how full our reservoir is gonna get.
I know. Yeah, it was going pretty fast there when it warmed up, and now it's slowed right down. I was hopeful it was gonna keep rising pretty good, but it slowed down a
Well, the
little.
water's off first of April, so.
Yeah.
We've only been pretty good today for the higher temperatures we had yesterday, so hopefully it keeps, we run pretty good.
Yeah, if we can keep the weather warm, it'll be great for us to keep rising and, hopefully do it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to 9,000 feet.
Yeah.
9,000 acre feet will be great.
Well, I think there's, like, if you just figure the daily rate coming into it, we should top out minor, so have their water.
Good.
What isn't that at almost 12?
Miners fill irrigation, 7. About 7, Rocky Ford can get theirs when it's 9,500 acre feet. But I'm not 100% sure on that, I could be wrong.
I think,
Yeah, so I'm hoping we get 12, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, at 12, everybody should get their water.
Yeah. So, the arms are still working good, that's going good?
Yeah, Tyler got the power right back onto the arm right away. It's just the cabins don't have the, power to their heat and air conditioning. We have
What happened
light.
to it?
Huh?
What happened to it?
That big storm that came in on January 6th.
The big
that had
wind?
That big wind.
Oh.
Must have knocked some kind of power outage because it blew 2 cabanas completely away. One hit a cabin and knocked the coal out of the porch of the cabin. Yeah, and then my power got knocked out.
they can't figure out where it's at.
And they think it's right underneath that pad that they just poured for that pavilion. So they're gonna go around that pad and get the power. We got a big one, it's gotta be a split that goes down to those cabins and right up to the back of the pay shack. So they got the power to the front of the pay shack, but nothing behind the pay shack and into those cabins, and it's must be like a 220 line or something instead of just a 110, because it's not enough power to run those AC units and heaters. I get power to come on to them, but it won't run them. So swap those cabin rentals out until we get those fixed, and,
Hopefully when it warms up. So
yeah,
by Easter or something.
yeah, because come April, it's starting to get busy. Mm-hmm.
So is there anything else you need from us other than the power problem fixed at the reservoir? Everything else is okay?
What about the fairgrounds?
Fairgrounds are good, me and Tyler have talked about, we gotta get that cement for the ADA compliance, you know, we wanna be ADA compliant in getting those wheelchairs from the entrance to the building to those big front doors. And so Jen Wakeman said she thought she could get us some money for the ADA on that 40,000 for cement to get the cement poured for the big outdoor restrooms and get into the building in the wheelchair. And then we just gotta figure out the drainage problem down there on the cement, where that water comes off the top of the fairgrounds and the bleachers and puddles on that cement.
Oh, yeah, on the south side?
Just right there in the middle, right behind the bleachers and right in front of the concession stand.
Yeah.
Concession, we've got just tons of water just flowing right there.
Okay.
So, yeah, that grant is coming right along for the reservoir. We're pretty much done with that. If we can just get everybody to just look at it and see where we're at with that, and then submit that and have it in on the pre-farming process, we can look at it and tell us what we need to change on that, if anything.
So what's left on the Myers, on the lake expansion, what's left on that?
So grant number 2, the RRI grant 2, is we gotta do all of that work just on that, and then, big grant getting that restroom put in, so.
For the trailhead there?
Yeah, for the trailhead.
So we gotta have the septic system, when our sewer system done, before the league will put that in there.
Yeah, and like, if that's the case, we won't probably get that restroom put in under the timeframe that they give us for that big grant.
So is there a penalty, or can we file for an extension on that?
I do not know, I can look into that.
Why don't you look into that, because I really think we're gonna have to do it.
So, yeah, and Darrell did tell Tyler, he thought we could just put a tank under that bathroom and just scale down on that bathroom and get it put in.
Is that permit through the health department, or?
For the state of Utah.
Oh, also
But it's the health
DEQ?
department that shut us down because of the sewer system.
Southwest Health Department or the state health department?
State.
And we have too many, leach lines in a small enough of an area.
But they count everything, they count your daily use, they count your tent sites, your campsites, they count all of that against you towards the.
Leach lines?
Yeah. And they won't even give us any grace on the, seasonal use.
Yeah, because we only, like, we don't use.
So even though you're not using
Even
the
though
water,
they're not, yeah,
But
even though it's just a small, like,
they're counting as day use?
Like it's always full.
Yeah.
They know.
Yes.
It's
Because it could happen, but, yeah.
So that's still in the process, for
Mhm.
sure.
So the other option is just put a tank in that is pumped all the time.
Yeah, the vault system that we have to pump,
Mhm.
Which,
maybe we can.
is that something that we should look at, or?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just, if it depends, if they won't give us any extension on that grant, and if it affects what we ask for in the future, whether they'll give us let us keep applying for the grants and know that we're gonna follow through with the work in a timely manner, then, yeah, we definitely need to.
What does it cost to pump the vault?
$400, $400 a month per vault.
It's pricey.
Yeah. So,
Jen wants us to buy a honey wagon.
yeah, I want us to have our own, so we can go.
I don't think you wanted, I did a lot of honey wagons with cow manure, but I don't wanna do it human waste very
Yeah.
badly, so.
Yeah. Well,
I
you
did a
just
lot- I did a lot
figure
of-
what we were bumping on our own,
Okay.
with Tusher Campground and Minersville Lake, and.
Is Tusher pumped too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no.
Tusher's like $700 a month for those 3 vaults up there, 2 vaults, 3 vaults. We've got 3 up there. And then we've got 2 at the reservoir, but we've only had to pump 1 because that other bathroom didn't get open in time, but now we'll have 2 for next summer. And then with this other bathroom, there'll be 3 vaults that need to be pumped at Minersville and 3 at Tusher. So,
Yeah, I think it pumps a lot when they're busy.
yeah, what's the average gallons of water used at the reservoir, you know, per day or per season, per year? And I'm like, oh, I'll get back to you here shortly at the end of the day to let you know, but, you know, we figured on that bathroom, it takes 350 flushes each side, so you figure the day use fee, you know, you can kind of gauge on what that, if you have 50 people coming in a day, 50 to 100 a day on that day, then you pretty much guess when you're gonna need to float, get that tank pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, we better look into that then, for sure, that, you know, if it requires with our grant that we have, so.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'll meet with you.
Yeah.
We gotta get that decided. I'll meet with you.
Yeah, I found a restroom that might work that's scaled back from what we originally wanted to get, so.
How far are they out on, if we ordered it?
Like 180 days.
That's still 6 months out.
Yeah, so we gotta get it ordered ASAP, because we've got until 2024 to be done with that grant.
Okay, anything else, any other questions?
No.
So do we need to, probably need to make a motion to
Oh, yeah.
adopt this rate change?
So it's $8
Yeah.
increase.
Yep.
I'll make the motion that we, do the pressure campground increase from $12 to $20 per site per night.
Okay,
I'll second that.
any other questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, making unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your work, Jen,
Yeah,
appreciate it very
you
much.
bet.
All right, Allison, come on up. Glad, how are you today?
Good.
Good. Can't believe it's already fair
I know.
conversations, huh? Holy
I know,
cow.
it's crazy.
There we go, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I sent the carnival.
Yes.
The rodeo one hasn't come through. I checked with Ben and he said, oh, well, send it right over, but I have been checking every 5 seconds and it still hasn't come, so, we might have
Allison,
to
did you see
put
this
it up.
contract? Did you see this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
I'll
Allison,
do-
Have you already got it?
can I tell you
I just wanna make sure.
in that, it says minors will use like 4751 and it's 4752. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
there's some
go to
grammar
the
changes,
right.
but nothing substantive enough to delay
So
something.
what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, the biggest thing is the price increase for the wristband, which we had talked about last year, and.
That was a little bit of a problem last year, right? What happened with that?
Yeah, well, we were selling, so last year's contract, the wristbands were $25 across the board. So even though we did a pre-sale, the county subsidized the $5 and we sold them for $20, because in the past, I've had to pay for Carnival to come, so that just incentivized, and I think we sold $7,000 worth of pre-sale tickets. But then on site, they were selling them for $35 because that's where they sell them everywhere else, but on our contract, so it was a mess for a minute. They actually apologized and, you know, kind of smoothed things over. So this year, they're going to do pre-sale for $30 like normal. I'm thinking, we have our first fair meeting on March 7th, but I'm thinking that we will go ahead and do pre-sale for $25 like we have in the past, so the county subsidizes that $5. Then they get the $5 up in the company, you know, so it'll be a $10 savings, so I think our pre-sale will be, quite a bit higher, if that's the case.
So what is the cost to the county with that $5?
It's about, $1,500 usually, but then we got that back in the, so if you read in the contract, we get a 10% after $30,000.
So it was kind of a wash, wasn't it?
So, yeah, so last year we actually got more than we paid out. So I just feel like,
That's the first time I've done it, isn't it?
yeah. The year before we might have been about
Close to it,
equal.
yeah.
Yeah. So the first year I got $100, and that was the first time we've ever hit the benchmark, and then $200 and then $500, and then we're up to, you know, $1,000.
Right.
Well, I know last year they didn't bring a bunch of stuff in, which was weird.
Well, so if you look, it is the 8 to 10 big rides, and then, the candy wagon. They didn't bring the candy wagon, but honestly, I didn't really care because.
Then they spend money on our own vendors
Yeah.
instead of theirs.
Yeah.
Right?
So it helps our vendors, and that's who I
other change is they wanted to, instead of opening at 11 o'clock on Saturday, open at noon, and that's because of the labor laws.
Oh, yeah.
Because we stay open till 11 o'clock at night, and so, you know, they have to follow the rules with labor laws, and so I was fine with that. So, that's the only thing, and I'm sorry, let me just check real quick to see if I have the email yet, but I'll send it over when we can, and it has to be on the next agenda.
Is it the same rodeo?
Yeah, it's the same rodeo, everything should pretty much be the same, except I'm sure there'll be a little cost increase. Everything has a cost increase this year.
Feed truck cost,
Yeah.
feed double what it was.
But yeah, so if you will, I'll have them fix 8%, but you know, they have the $5 million, insurance, and comparatively, they are just a lot better company to work with than
Other than
what the sales. Yeah.
But they're all fine with that now? You calm down?
Yeah. I told the company, I said, if you're not gonna come back, I need to know by November, because I've gotta go to the RNPRA, or, that's the rodeo.
That's a real.
Rocky Mountain Association of Fairs, RMAF, to see if I can find some things, which I don't know if I would have been able to, so,
I know, but it's always good to keep them honest.
yeah.
Allison, remind me, do you have your own copy of this that we can edit, or do we have to rely on them to make it?
I have a Word document that I can edit. I would want to ask that and just say, hey,
Right.
here's the,
He's been really good.
Yeah, I don't want to hold up the contract, but I do have some grammatical edits that I'd like to make for next year's contract.
Okay.
Just to make it more.
so the one I sent you should be a Word document if you wanted to,
Oh, wonderful,
Yeah.
I could do it myself. I didn't
Yeah.
notice that it was Word.
yeah.
Okay.
When I pulled it up to print it off, I noticed it was in Word.
Beautiful, okay, I'll make the edits myself and get them to you.
Okay, that'd be great. And then I can send it.
So do you have a back sheet that we can sign?
I would suggest maybe fixing that, and then we can sign it electronically with Commissioner Longside. Do you want, after it's corrected?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just remember, when you sign it, there's initials on every page. So you
And I
have to
can do that
initial
too.
them and then sign.
You do the
Mhm.
same thing? Okay. So with that, I think I'll entertain a motion to do the changes and then have the electronic signatures placed on it. You're okay with that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay?
Okay.
Motion second, any other questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Then Counselor, if you'll make those changes, then get them back to Stephanie, and she can
Absolutely.
signature on it and go from
I'll
there.
get them to Allison as well.
And I guess them to us as well, too.
Allison, what's her date?
I'll send them to everybody.
It is August 24th through the 26th.
Just to make sure.
And then just so you have a heads up, March 7th is my first fair meeting. I've, subject branding, and, it'll be at 7 o'clock. And then, March 29th, I'm having a rodeo royalty meeting for all the girls, and May 5th will be our royalty pageant. We're hoping to have that so that we can award the scholarship to the girls still in high school at the assembly. So they can have the recognition. We just paid our scholarships out for Jaylee, who's in Beaver County, and Navy, who's our rodeo royalty, and Lindsay Williams just completed this last weekend at Miss Outstanding Team Utah. She did a great job. She represented really well. So,
May 5th is the Queen pageant,
rodeo royalty.
or that's the rodeo?
Rodeo.
Okay.
We don't have the dates for the Miss yet. We will get.
Sounds like fun.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Anything else for us?
No, do you have any questions for me?
Just to clarify, the rodeo contract will be next meeting, because we don't have that quite yet.
Yeah, so I'll just send it over as soon as I get it, and then, I don't know if I need, I can come if I need to, if not, I'll just do it, it's straightforward.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Just sign it. Okay.
I'll look through the.
Thanks,
comparison
all you do. Fair is a big deal, so thank you very much.
Yep, thank
Yes,
you.
appreciate it.
See you on the 7th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or not.
Just want to hand you an email that I received from Walter Mason, our attorney. This is in addition to what you already have in your packet. It just outlines tentative amounts. This is the national settlement agreement that he's advising us to opt into. The state of Utah has joined, and now he's advising counties to do it. But statewide, settlement with TIVA is $41.3 million to Utah. Allergen is $24.3 million to Utah, paid for 7 years. Walmart, $40 million to Utah. CVS, $59 million to Utah, paid for 10 years. Walgreens, $59 million to Utah, paid for 12 years. And he hasn't given us the proposed payment schedules yet. However, I did get an email from him this morning saying that he will clear us or encourage us to go ahead and just opt into this settlement agreement.
So you don't have any idea what the breakdown is for Beaver County?
Well, remember, it's going to be 50% of the state of Utah, and then the other 50% divided up between the counties.
Population.
Yeah, and I would expect it would be that same schedule that we saw.
And so far, it's just been a trickle of the money, like barely enough to pay the invoice to Southwest Public or Behavioral Health for Megan McMullen to do that coalition. Like it's not like it sounds like a lot of money, but it's just trickling in.
I'm wondering if, I'm hoping that considering the agreement we made with those guys, that all of this is going to come up to that amount. I don't know.
I think it's maybe more, but I'm like it's just
It's going to be coming to the back end instead of up front.
There is, in addition to having Commissioner Holling said sign page 3 of the opt-in agreement for this opt-in to the national agreement on Walmart and Southern Pellets, he does also want us to settle this, resolve a smaller item regarding UCB. I guess it's a local producer, $450,000. He's advising us to sign that as well.
I think there's definitely strength in numbers because this was kind of, I mean, I know Davis County in particular dragged their feet on this because they thought they were going to get a whole lot more. And
It's really not. I mean, it hasn't been.
I don't think that they are. In the end, I think they paid for their own attorneys and I don't know.
We do have till April 18th to sign the national opt-in agreement. If you wanted to wait for these promised payment schedules, you certainly could. On the other hand, our council is advising us to sign the opt-in agreement.
So this is the one for UCB.
Correct, that's a
And
small one.
this one's for all the other ones already here.
That's opting into the national one.
National one, okay.
I make a motion that we opt in with his and take council's advice.
On the separate UCB agreement as well.
As well as these ones, correct?
Yeah.
Tiva, Allergen,
You need two
CVS.
separate motions or you?
No,
I think we can do them in one.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
UCB, is that what it's called?
Mhm.
I'll second that motion. I think we need to sign and move forward with it. There's not a lot we can do if we don't sign it. So
No, we're part of the group to begin with.
Yeah. Council wants us to sign. I think it's a good move.
All right, any other questions or concerns? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Take unanimous, okay, we'll sign, it's been almost a year.
Thanks for following through on that one.
Junior, I'll make a copy for myself and the original.
Perfect. Thank you.
I did have a couple of this nice too, so I
Yeah,
got
page 3 on
It's
the.
going to take you a while to sign.
give me a minute. So let's see, let's, go ahead and sign it.
We're way ahead.
We are ready, do you want to do any updates or any stuff you want to do that real quick?
Okay, so I should probably, since having this start of the meeting, I spoke to Lincoln this morning. They got an agreement and it's looking like 40 million instead of the 50 million at one time. But then 6.5 million ongoing.
Is this the DNC road?
Yes. So that's being
Hold harmless, I guess I should say hold harmless.
Well, it says SB 175, and it's technically they don't even call it hold harmless anymore, but the intent of the $50 million up front is to kind of, how do I explain it, to get the hold harmless counties a little additional money up front, or it's not up front, it's way behind, but
Right now?
Better than nothing right now, right?
yeah, it's better than nothing. A whole lot more than what we get every year, so,
Will that
if
come
we get our
Next
part,
year?
it'll come after the 1st of July.
Right.
Yeah, because they're working out the appropriation right now. So, if, I doubt they was on the website yet, because this was done in the meeting last night. It's the Rural Transportation Infrastructure Fund. I'm pretty sure the floor sponsor's gonna be Carl Albert. Senator Gerlins is the one that's running it. But they had to do the fiscal, that's what the problem's been.
Is there a representative over it?
Yeah. So now he's our representative, which he always has been kind of anyway, but he's been really helpful this year. But Lincoln Shirts, our lobbyist, is one that's really been kind of in the paper on this one.
That $6 million ongoing will be,
Yeah.
that's pretty big, so.
That was pretty big, because we weren't sure where that was gonna be. Originally, it was $5 million ongoing, so if we can do $6.5 million ongoing, which that's not, you know, obviously that's not just for Beaver County, but maybe one.
Okay.
Still approved, but we're gonna, okay, I did so.
Thank you.
Anyway, so there's that update. I'm gonna find out for sure SB, or let's see, HB 114 has passed the House, passed the Senate, sitting on the governor's desk. They need to be signed. I'm gonna find out. It'd be really nice if we could have a signing ceremony for Ron. I can go sit next to the governor. I'll just get that thing signed. That'd be pretty cool.
A lot of support through that one, I felt like they did a good job.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Ron worked hard on that.
he did. We all did. That was kind of there wasn't really the heavy lift. It was just that you've got some crazy people up there going against you. And then the joint jail is looking really good. I think that's SB 14. I know. Lots more too good. And I think we got them both. Passed. And it was a hard one too. But just pull that up quickly now. So the sheriff picked Representative Jeff Burton to carry it in the House. And I've heard of him. I've really never dealt with him, but he's actually co-chairman of the House committee, so it passed through really good. When you go to status on that one, it is in House Rules Committee right now, and they're trying to write the fiscal note for it.
So it's not even decided then?
Oh, it's all decided.
Oh, it is decided?
Yeah, it's
So
all,
what,
so that's the jail funding.
Right.
Right? So it started in the Senate, it's gone through all the Senate, passed the floor, gone through all the House, passed the floor on that. They've just got to work out the financial it's what we talked about before. I think we're gonna, but I wanna just tell you, so on the Senate side, it passed, on the floor 24-0 in the House. You know what, it has not gone across the floor on the House. But the committee was unanimous support. So, yeah, it does have to finish the fiscal note, and then, it'll have to go across the floor. That we shouldn't have any problem there. The one thing that we're having issue with is Senator, Wyler, and he's trying to mess us up on another bill. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I can't remember what the number of it is. It's on my watch list, but he's trying to force the contract counties to put a curtain on the second floor, which is almost going to cost as much as what our increase would be. And he's the same meathead that fought us on HB 114. He's a defense attorney that hates the legal system and hates all of this stuff, and so he's got a lot of power up there. Unfortunately, he's the chairman of that committee. So hopefully, the other one we got was I think we've got the railroad, the Marspot collision one thing. We got so many things that we're watching right now. I think I told you about this one, the rollback tax. So they have finally agreed that the counties keep their own money. They don't dump it into a state fund. They had a clause in the back that we found that said that if you didn't use the money in a certain time frame, then it reverts back. We got that killed, so you keep the money. And county's prerogative on.
What's the bill on that one?
It is HB 371. So it's passed. Just right now it's looking through. It's passed the Senate Business and Labor Committee. And it should be going to the floor.
HB 259 is the one that talks about the protection on the second level in the correctional facilities.
That's B59.
HB 259.
HB 259. And so I know the UAC opposed it, I think 100%, if I remember right.
Yeah, it is at 100.
Yeah, and we're trying to kill that one outright. The problem with that was Representative Moss. They passed it through the House, and then Wyler hijacked it and completely wrote the whole bill. And it's sitting circled in the Senate on the reading calendar. And he's getting a lot of pushback on that. And I hope we can kill it because it's a joke. I know there's a big push, and I can't remember, I don't know if you guys heard this one. And I don't know if they actually have a bill in there, but there's a lot of, people who get their license plates in Idaho.
Oh, I saw that actually.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know,
Loophole,
there's a loophole that gives our county and the whole state out of.
Yes, it is. I don't think there's a bill. I think it's just a discussion.
Yeah, I think so too, because they try to, Donnie was the one that talked about it a lot. Has to be with,
There's an advantage to that, people find the advantage in using it.
Yeah, can't blame them really, you know, that's a
Well,
bill. Yeah, I know.
yeah. It's a loophole.
There's House Bill 351, which I think you guys all aware about, is the three-quarter bill. It did pass the House and it's in the Senate. It's going to be, actually going to be on the agenda tomorrow for discussion.
So it's in committee.
Committee, 8 o'clock. Senator Thatcher is the chair, and Senator
What's
Winter
that bill number?
351. There's definitely some concerns there. Yeah, it needs to go through the
And they'll take public comment online as well as in person.
Yeah, so we probably, I mean,
Somebody ought to get on that.
we should, I'll try to tell her actually.
So there's, I don't know if you guys would listen to Thursday to the UAC meeting.
I was reading part of it.
Are they opposed to that? I mean, I didn't hear that.
Okay, so here's the background on it, and it stinks, but it is what it is. This guy has been nonstop harassing the recorders, and it's because of one person's screw up. And, what happened is they recorded a lease agreement, or a lease buy on oil and gas in, I don't know, is it Carbon County? Okay. Anyway, when they recorded it, they recorded private records, like it shouldn't be open to the public. And, you can't come back and amend the recording. And so the people that they recorded it for threw a fit, he threw a fit. So now they're trying to come back and, change the law to fit that one screw up.
Yeah.
And kind of like what they were trying to accuse us of,
Right.
you know, but that was a loophole.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, totally different. And so, come to find out, there was one recorder in the state that was talking behind the scenes, making all these wheeling and dealing stuff with the legislators, and not talking to the reporters in general. And nobody knew about it, because UAC was working on it, and everybody, you know, Shelley Brennan is the legislative one, elected by the Recorders Association to represent. And then come to find out this other guy is doing all this other crap on the state. So everybody wants us to vote opposed, but they're afraid if we oppose it, the guy's gonna just come back harder. And I still voted to oppose, because that's what Cindy asked me to do. And,
Well, part of her concern is the state doesn't really appropriate any money,
no, it's gonna,
and
it's the county that's gonna have to pay
It's
for it.
unfunded mandate.
there's gonna be some fees that we're gonna have to probably deal with.
Mhm.
And the board is gonna be there, and our county attorney doesn't really have the authorization of the board, they do whatever they want.
Sure.
Yeah, but I think what it's gonna do is it is establishing a state standards board, which that's all fine and dandy. I mean, and the recorders don't disagree with that, and there are standards
Right.
that they need to set, but that, you know, if the state wants to do it, the state should fund it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Then you also had concerns as to the people who would be on the board as well, as you felt that some of them may have conflicts. That would be kind of a self-dealing sort of situation.
Exactly.
So about the ethics of the board question, as do some of the board members.
And I think most of the recorders agree with that. there's a fear factor here. This guy is just nonstop, been hammering this guy. Just every year, or every other year, he keeps trying. Fisher's got something, I don't know why, probably like 7.75, but he doesn't. Yeah, he's got some weird bills.
And that was kind of the discussion last week, is at what point do we stop and kind of settle on what he wants so we can just be done with it?
I don't think he'll ever be done with it.
So the HB 407, that's the solar one that Brian was quite concerned about.
How did that go?
They changed the language on the production tax credit to remove that sunsetting period. And once they did that, that one went right through the House floor, I believe. So
What's the number?
HB 407?
And you not opposed that?
Yes. So it worked. Once they changed that language, then it was a pretty good deal.
So we're gonna re-vote on it this year, or this week then?
Probably, because I think that went through the floor on Thursday last week.
Okay.
So
Did you talk to Lincoln about it?
I did talk to Lincoln, and he testified, and then there was a few of us that testified on that one. And that was the main concern, was that production tax credit. So
Right.
Lincoln should know about that one. Maybe it'll remind me to put it on the agenda. Maybe we should change our opposed to support now.
Yeah.
I think we should.
Okay. But if they've changed it, then.
Did they change the language?
They changed the language. I listened to the floor committee and
Zeke should know, but if you'll text him.
yeah, I'll send Zeke an email on that one.
Zeke's pretty sharp.
Yes.
I don't know what he means. If you like Lincoln's interpretation on that thing, so, but Zeke's been pretty good at it too.
HB 469 is the one that I'm concerned with this week. There's always a new one, I guess.
Well, there's only 900. It's
A
not.
lot of bills to be run.
Well, on our watch list.
I think it was just introduced last week. It's a wildlife amendment. They want to have $1 million to purchase land and water for wildlife use, which
The state does or who?
DWR.
DWR. And that's a direct competition to farmers and ranchers, so I'm a little concerned there. I don't know that that went through the tax
Who's running it, Snyder?
You had to ask.
Yeah.
You didn't have to ask. You knew who was running.
I know.
So
All
that
good
was,
bills come from Casey.
he's done some good deals for sure, but there's a lot of question marks also.
Well, everything's all about wildlife now.
Yeah.
You know,
There's some other things in that bill. I wanted you to read that, Tammy, because you understand the RAC a little better. But I think a lot of what the bill does should have went through the RAC process. And I don't know of any.
that's why it doesn't, because Casey can write law.
He'll run over top of the.
Yep. Yeah, he doesn't want to have to go through that process.
And I think if we bring that up in committee, maybe some of those guys will.
That's why he's playing nice this year.
So he can throw these in at the last minute and see
Yep.
if he can get them. Yeah, so I wanted your interpretation of that bill, see what we need to do there. But
Okay.
as it is, I would highly oppose that one.
Opposed?
Yes.
Okay. And then we've got, sandals. And it's passed, it's all passed, it's, got off my tracker. So sandals bill. And it's the, working animal, whatever. So, you know the one I'm talking
by Senator Kennedy taking away local health department authority on certain things. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it has died out, but it may come back.
Oh, it is?
Keep in mind.
I thought that one was in passed.
I don't think people get gone anywhere, so. It was brought up by Dr. Wallace that he was very concerned about. I don't think it's, I checked on it, I don't think it's going anywhere, so.
Well, I know they're intent on that one, because Salt Lake County
Yes.
was rogue
Yes.
on everything, and so they were trying to shut them down.
Yes. But it affects all the health departments is the problem, so.
Right.
Takes away our local health department, their authority to do stuff, so.
Yeah.
It's a little risky, to start taking away control, so. Anyways, they were highly against this. But I don't think it's going anywhere, I just looked it up, I don't think it's doing anything, so.
Is it SB 113?
Yeah. Good for you. Gosh.
It's really not doing
I know, but trying to keep track of Sandra and Snyder is like, holy Hannah. Okay, local agricultural amendments, and so whatever they said was the new cable law under whatever, but basically what the explanation is it's like, the horse-drawn carriages in Salt Lake, it's the rodeos, it's the stock shows, it's the state fair, it's all the working animal kind of stuff, not cables. And so I actually texted Scott and said, hey, I got phone call on top of phone call because they think you're trying to slide this in the back door again. And he goes, absolutely not. Pull it up, cut it away, anyway, he says that land use ordinances are not effective.
There you
So I should have looked that up to see if I had this. Let's see, 113 right there. Anyway, there's many more, but I think the ones that were really talking right now.
Okay. Thank you, Brad. Commissioner, anything else?
So the only other thing I had is, a cattle producer, he called, he was concerned about the coyotes, and they've been getting some of the calves, and the state trapper wouldn't fly his area because Beaver County didn't participate in some fund. I didn't know anything about it, I told him I'd get to the bottom of it. I talked to the state trapper, Preston Mowers, and I talked him into flying the concerned area. He was flying east of the freeway because of the deer, but they wouldn't go west of the freeway because Beaver County didn't pay into a fund, and then he said they asked for their money back, which, like I say, I have no idea, so we can talk after and try to find the, and I told him, work with us here, help this guy out, and we'll get it figured out. And so he did fly on Saturday, and I haven't heard back from either one.
Well, I know we used to pay, what do they call it?
State fund?
State wildlife predator, it's a predator fund. But I didn't know we weren't paying.
And he threw out the number of $5,000 from the state trapper, that's what he said.
What is it,
5,000 is what.
Is there a contract that is there, or?
That's, I told him I was doing this, and
An
we would
MOU or
get to
whatever,
the
or
bottom
something?
and figure it out.
Yeah, we gotta find out, yeah.
If there's something we can do to,
See, I didn't think, I thought they'd eliminated the cost share on the counties.
oh, okay.
I thought that they were, because the state, so APHIS is the federal guys that are supposed to be doing that.
Okay.
But then the state is trying to get it away from the feds because the feds aren't really doing anything either, but that's been the problem that's always been, we don't fly when we think they should fly.
Right.
Right? So,
But he had to like Paiute, Northfield, he said they tracked them coming off the east hills over here, right down into the cattle. They killed 16 of them in a couple hours.
Wow.
16?
Yeah, but they have an advantage. Once you get in a helicopter, you can.
Oh, he killed, oh, coyote he killed. I thought coyote
I thought you were talking about a coyote
So,
that killed
so
cows.
16 cows, that's a lot of money.
I've heard,
Okay.
I think there was 4 calves. There
Okay.
were live calves,
Because they're
doing
dominant.
good, and they come in and.
Because they're that brand new baby.
Yeah,
I still, yeah. Okay.
not 16.
Okay, like, oh, a lot of calves, yes, okay.
So, yeah, that's the only other thing I wanted to visit with, and Ginger, we can talk after and get that figured out.
So I did get, so Allison did email me the Broken Heart Rodeo Company contract, it did come. So I think we'll go back and consider signing that. It's pretty straightforward, the cost did go up just a little bit from last year, went from 10.7 to 11.4. But that's not, unexpected, and,
That's always fuel cost.
yeah, so I think we're
Well,
okay with
good,
that.
so we can rodeo.
I'll accept the motion, to set this contract, and
I'll
sign
make
it.
that motion.
Okay,
I'll second that.
Okay, sir, really good job.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, next thing on the agenda is consider signing 5th District Court lease agreement. Ginger, that's yours?
That's mine. So, state courts reached out to me, and our lease agreement for 5th District Court is due. It's a 5-year lease, and they want to just extend it for another 5 years. So no cost increase. I don't see any reason why not to. We get $47.25 and some change per month for O&M. I don't see that being an issue, so I would recommend signing this one.
And it looks like on the Schedule A, we actually get $56,704
Per year, yeah.
That's both the lease amount and the option sheet.
Correct. I would
We can't
recommend.
just round it up.
Well, it is rounded up on the annual.
I
It's
mean,
rounded
if we
up.
get that from everybody else.
Yeah, you could. I mean, we can go back. It's not done until, so if you want to recommend the change and just rounding up, we can do that.
Well, I know our costs haven't gone down, and they're definitely.
No, but we haven't had a lot of, well, for that area, we haven't had a lot of costs that we've had to put into that area.
Yeah,
So,
there's not a lot of wear and tear.
no, and we pay for janitorial service and things over there. But as far as, we're putting a new HVAC unit out there, I think that will cover that portion of the $3. So, it's up to you, but
Just good. Really, really, really good.
So did you say there's no increase, is that what you said? Sorry.
it's the same. So it's the same agreement we did 5 years ago. They want to just renew and just renew for another 5 years at the same rate. So if you want to change it,
I mean, has the cost gone up for us at all or anything?
not that much for
Not
that.
significant.
Yeah.
So,
What's their square footage?
it's right.
It's on that.
7,000.
7,000, a little over 7,000.
Oh, it's right.
And the rate, so they have a rate per square foot on that.
That's
on
probably
the equipment.
what they pay statewide.
It is. It's kind of it's
Their standard.
Yeah, the 450 is the rent per square foot, and then the O&M is for any improvements or anything we have to do. So yeah, we get $56,704 annually from the state for the court, for 5th District Court area.
So does the state send down these fees, is that what they're doing it?
They do, so they amended the rent rate and the O&M rate 5 years ago. So I would recommend, if you want to do something, I would recommend changing the rental rate or the O&M rate. That would be your increase. So if you want to do your rental rate at $5 and increase it by 50 cents, that would probably be what they would incorporate into that contract. So it's up to you. doesn't come due until July, so we have time if you wanna table it and think about it and talk to Tyler a little bit, if there's any costs that he can see that could be coming up.
Either way, we're paying it taxes to the state and then they're paying it back.
Yeah.
Kind of a wash.
Well,
Up to you guys.
if you have any questions, or you want to do the motion, or?
I don't think we really have an option to play hardball. It's just.
That's what I wanted. I mean, what are you gonna do? I want this much. I don't know.
They're gonna tell us what they're gonna pay anyway.
Right.
I'll make the motion, we fix in the lease, or sign the new lease.
There's no signature page.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
Bottom of page 2.
Okay, so we have a motion?
I'll second.
Second, any other questions? Not, all in favor?
Alright,
All right, it's unanimous. Okay, let's see here. Jan, come on up. Business Growth Center.
Yes. One of its many names. That's good point, Stephanie, thank you.
All right.
So, I'm here to talk to you about the business center, as I lovingly refer to it. I think the way that this, and forgive me, you guys will have more extensive background than I will, so maybe Commissioner Yardley and I are playing a little bit in a sandbox that's unknown to us. But I was instructed, told, taught, I don't know what the right adjective is that initially when we looked to build this business growth center, it was for startups, and it had kind of a short-term turnaround on renters being able to use that space to start and grow their business. We are at a place right now where the grant for funding for the refurbishment of that has been long since satisfied, and so I thought now would be a great time to look at what we really want to do with it, how we're using it, and maybe consider how and what to do with it moving forward. I didn't have enough time to get enough background information from other surrounding jurisdictions. The startup building in Provo is one that I'm fairly familiar with. They have a little bit of a longer history, but we were one of the first to kind of put one of these startup buildings together. And so I've not done enough research yet to see how some of that modeling has shifted to bring that information to you. So if you wanted to wait for that information and see how some of these are transitioning across the state, we can push this back and we can look at what other models are doing, or we can just simply continue to talk about it. I just need some direction from you as to what you would like to see with the Business Growth Center release and agreement.
Do we have a lot of people trying to get into there?
Actually, recently we've had a ton of interest.
Really?
I would say within the last 2 months, we've had probably 4 or 5 folks ask about it and try to be curious about some space. So I think there's like a renewed interest all of a sudden, which is great, right? Like we want to encourage startups and ventures and stuff like that. So yeah, right now it seems like we're kind of at a critical mass to do this. So I think we probably need to look at really what we want the vision for this thing to be moving forward. So I need that direction from you all.
How many open offices have we got? Anything open?
I think we have 2 currently. So
Everything else is full.
How many units in total, or spaces is total?
it's 8, right? 6.
6
Yeah.
spaces.
and how long are people usually staying in one space?
What?
That's a variable that I can't put my thumb on. The lease agreements are only good for 6 months at a time. So that's another thing I would want to talk about is like, really, what are we looking at here? Does it make sense to move to a year lease? Like, I just don't know what you want your vision to be for that thing. I think it was changed since its inception and how we originally wrote the grant to qualify for the funding for this thing. And so I don't know, is it something that's a little more transitional and allows for longer rental capabilities?
Well, the original thing was the 6 months because, a lot of these guys, I shouldn't say a lot because we haven't had a huge turnover, but in general, we've had people that have come in and used their 6 months, maybe up to a year and a half or something like that, and then moved on to their thing. others have stayed, and that, thus the increase in the, for those that are staying longer and making it more of a permanent thing, we up the rent on it. But, I don't know, if we're gonna use this as some sort of a transition, I think we stay at 6 months.
The other interesting thing I would say too is we currently have a tenant who is more of like a social services. And so he's a really great resource, and so I don't know that we want to necessarily lock it down to like, yeah, we only want people to be there for 3 years. Or maybe do we write a clause that says if you're a provider for social services, we allow an exception to the startup model. So there's just a lot of questions that I think we kind of, you know, even my own husband, when we moved here, we had the thought, well, if there was rental space for him, he could rent the space and work in an office rather than working from our home. And so there may be plenty of home-based businesses actually existing that could use just an office.
What do we rent the space for, remind me?
It's $200 total a month, but a portion of that is rent and a portion of that is utilities. So we just combined it to the $200 every month.
And what's the floor space?
Like,
It's, I believe,
I was gonna say 325, so anywhere from
It's a really
325.
nice office
Yeah,
space.
it's
I mean,
between
it's a
3 and
good
350. Yeah, it has its own bathroom, which is super nice too.
So each unit has their own bathroom?
Yeah.
Well, basically refurbished.
Great.
Which had bathrooms in each room.
Yeah.
What is the, I mean, so that rent number is probably considerably less than some other places?
Oh,
or-
Well, and that's the research that I really wanna do, because, I mean, I look at the fact that we pay for maintenance in that building, not just the utilities, but somebody actually goes in and physically cleans up office space and takes care of the bathrooms and does the things, and so I wanna make sure that it's whatever our vision for it is, it's sound and it's standing on its own 2 feet. If it is something that the county just feels like is an inherent value and we subsidize, that's fine, but we also wanna know what that looks like.
That's kind of where I'm at. I feel like that we're kind of subsidizing, and the intent was, you know, not to have permanent residents, but to have, you know, offer a leg up or a transition.
Help somebody out at the first.
You know, in the beginning of the building and then move on. You know.
And I think there's some really interesting things that we could do in the future years coming forward to like upscale this model. And so maybe that is a recommendation or a suggestion, is this can be your startup and then so this is the beginner tier, and then we can work on developing out a mid-tier. There are certainly buildings here in the county that are available that we could do some interesting things with and use some of the rural county grant opportunity money, some of the other things that we see come in to really help those businesses step, you know, not just as a beginner model, but into an intermediate space, and then maybe hopefully getting them into permanent space here even in the county. So,
Well, the question is there permanent space in the county for people who know very well?
that's a great question. Thank you for asking. Yes and no. South Peaks Industrial Park is doing some really wonderful things. They were awarded the Rural County, Beaver City was awarded the Rural Community Opportunity Grant to the sum of $300,000 to put in some of the infrastructure for their industrial park. And so we have spots that are available. Beaver City is currently working on leasing those spaces to individuals and giving them a leg up that way. In our economic development meeting on Thursday.
Wait a minute, but they're not existing office space.
Not
Just bare lots is what you're
it's
talking
built
about.
to suite, yeah.
And I think your question
I guess why I asked
was,
that
there
is-
was office space.
I mean, I agree, I think this was a, you know, idea of a short-term thing for people, but if there's no place for them to go,
In the intermediate,
if once our short-term time's up,
correct.
and no one's wanting to really get into them, then how do we limit them from staying there, I guess?
Correct, and that's what I would say, as I was explaining, Colette Cox at our economic development meeting talked about a fund that exists. It's a very, very, very low interest rate, loan through the state's office. And there's like a couple $1 million in this fund that they're looking to immediately get in the hands of business owners. So if we had a business that was looking to build a space to suit, basically in the South Peaks Industrial Park, we could direct them through the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, and they could pretty quickly, within 30 to 60 days, have the money in hand at like 0.5%. So there's some programs in the middle. We just need to kind of bridge that gap and get those folks to those right programs. I think there's some things that we could do, but you make an excellent point that, like, if this is only a 3-year kind of a vision, we
probably need to reestablish that it's a 3-year vision.
Right.
And then start working in the next 3 years. I'll work my tail off in interim that we can then build out even further. So it just depends on what you want to do with it. I mean, if you like the way it operates now with just having the member in there and we just kind of renew the leases as we do, as they come due, we can certainly do that. What I would recommend is that's a ton of maintenance. I would suggest a 1-year lease instead of a 6-month lease. But I'm open to whatever you want to do.
Are there other community or counties doing something like this?
Yeah, there are a lot of counties doing this. Garfield actually just opened their newest one, Garfield County did. And they are a short-term startup only. Like I said, my familiarity is with the startup building in Provo. They've been there established in Provo for 15 years. So I certainly want to gather some more of that information, make sure that I get what our actual utilities are for that portion of the building, and make a firm recommendation. I just haven't had as much time to collaborate out that information.
Well, I think in the long run, and we all know this part, we've got to make a decision, what's the building in general?
Yeah, this is very true.
And so that's where I'm kind of worried about. If you make a long-term commitment to office people and we end up having to do whatever we do with the building.
Well,
It's a big money investment one way or another, and I hate to lose, I don't want to lose the building, I don't want to lose the integrity of either end. If we come in and cleanly cut out the middle and build some more office space and some parking.
I would love every bit of that. And it's certainly something that we could put on the CDBG or the CID program. That is not going to be even something that I can apply for until next year, in the fall, but certainly something we can chase. We could also look at any other open buildings that are sitting kind of quietly currently.
Well, and we've
And
got
we
our
can shift some things. It just, whatever trajectory you want me to run down, I'm happy to chase.
LATCF fund too, that, one-time funding that needs to go towards something to this kind of caliber.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. And maybe the idea is we could use LATCF funding to drop the side of the building that is less desirable and build up intermediate space and have some lease space for things like the children's justice and so I think there are some things that we could suggest and look at and model. But
Well, the best thing, I mean, honestly, I know it's been a hard thing to do, but when we put money into that building for what we put money into it for,
right.
has been very productive.
Yes, and it's
Cleaned up your neighborhood.
Absolutely, it's been fantastic.
And I hate letting buildings go to waste, so if there was any way we could get that thing and figure out how to do it, I think that would be our better thing for us, okay?
On this one, on the current lease, if I read that right, they prepay the 6-month rent?
They're supposed to,
Okay.
whether they do or not.
Highly recommended.
And much appreciated.
Well, if it's one
Chasing afterwards.
It says it has to be in the contract, and then there's nothing in the contract that says what happens if they go to a month to
Should we
month.
default,
Yeah,
correct? Yeah.
so we need to work on the contract.
Oh, yeah, that's another order. All of us, we did a little work on that.
Happy to help.
So yeah, this is just the start of a larger conversation of what the heck are we gonna do out there?
Yeah,
That's what I would like to put it on the agenda as, what the heck
okay.
are we gonna do out there?
Put it on our radar.
If there is a business, a local businessman that would like to put in some offices, send them to you, and you can look at.
Yeah,
Okay.
heck yeah, if you've got somebody, listen, if you've got somebody who wants to build anything in this place, send them to me. I will become the new best friend and we can figure out how to balance all three legs of the stool, right? The constituency, the county, and everything that way. So happy to do that. Whether they're homes, I really want somebody from those homes. Or business offices is great too.
Okay.
Any new houses out here on Gander, nice.
They're beautiful.
Super nice.
They're beautiful. I was up in Utah County this weekend and drove past some new subdivisions out by my parents' place, and I was like, I need to expand my circle of friends. So,
So they did a good job. That was a long time coming. Holy crap.
okay, anything bring
more
this back.
conversation, yeah.
Yep, for sure. Thank you, you guys.
Thank you, appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I have a couple things I want to, not just to share with you, if that's okay for a moment.
Yeah.
My 5 counties and such. We did have a meeting, almost 2 weeks ago, wood biomass area, so becoming I guess an area they call it, where biomass can be done and managed, and so we're trying to get that done for the 5
I was
counties.
on that.
So they came and presented to our meeting, the guy in Salt Lake did, so I think this will be a huge deal for our area if we can get this zoned for this. Once it's zoned, then you have those companies come in and they set up shop and start working. Yeah.
Exactly what that city code.
Yes, yes, it does, so I think this is gonna go through well, so I'm super excited about that.
So who, do they do it as a 5 county, or do
So,
they do it individually as
that's-
Beaver County?
That's part of the problem, I think it's individually, because you can apply for a grant, but to do the analysis, and Ryan was gonna look into that, I think it was a county-specific thing, each county would have to do that.
It has to be within a 75-mile radius
Yes.
from your designated point of origin.
Yes.
Right.
So it would almost have to be
Yeah.
by county specific, just based off of the mileage.
Yeah.
He was gonna try to do the whole analysis through the 5 county, but then when it comes down to the area, we have to do it, you know.
Because I know in the original presentation, they were trying to make Beaver City the nucleus in a 75-mile radius around there, but I was kind of like,
What is it exactly?
so it's like pinyon and juniper and
Biomass.
biomass stuff coming off the mountain, like some like what Forest Service has proposed on, instead of stacking and burning stuff, they can actually
Use everything.
use everything.
Recycle it.
Recycle it.
Harvest all the
Harvest it.
chips, all the
Yes.
branches, and they use it for fuel, or
I see.
whatever, and so there's big companies who wanna
Well,
use it, but.
To be clear, this administration is dumping a crap load of money.
Yes, they are.
It's incentives based on renewable energy
Yes.
stuff, but, so like the big DNR stuff where they chain and they do all the big receipts out there, they're trying to harvest those and process them, and they can make biofuels, they can do, bunch of, which, I think,
There's your big money.
yeah, there's your big money.
50 billion. They're dropping 6
On the
billion.
federal.
But still BLM is the hurdle to get over on doing anything.
Well, it's not a deal, then, but there's sewage.
So it's like,
This is really federal stuff, they're dropping money to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but still-
BLM isn't the problem, honestly.
sewer is the one
It's the NGOs that are the problem.
but they can't prove it until they go through the whole process.
They have to go through NEPA and EAs and all that crap. But, they, every time they do any kind of a roof or painting or whatever, they get paid on that thing. Whether they've done NEPA or EA or not, so.
Anyway, that's just something that's was kind of, you guys already kind of know about it, but it's very interesting stuff.
Good.
They also did, have you seen this, Jen, the State of Utah Business Survey result?
I have not. I would love to.
I'm gonna give to, it's by Cammie Associates. It's a huge study survey they did, and there's a lot of things into it that's very interesting.
Is it Camoin or County?
Camoin, probably, however you say it, Camoin, probably. Yeah,
Thank you.
Camoin. 5 counties and mountainland respondents felt the most negative about their access to natural gas. Interesting. This, I thought it was interesting. 5 county respondents, who we were just talking about electricity, were the least positive about their access to electricity. Which is also interesting. Also, there were, our access to airports was negative. Anyway, you can look through this, and there's some challenges for businesses in this area.
Yep.
That we need to try to see what they are, and then try to
Bridge the gap.
bridge the gaps, yes.
Yes, sir.
So I should probably just everybody to look at it. It's a very interesting survey. They came to get a whole presentation on this also, so. I think the challenge for businesses for us here still would be broadband. I'm gonna say,
Yeah, do you want, I can,
do you have any update on
I
broadband?
do, yeah, I can give you like a, like, Commissioner Yardley was at Economic Development meeting on Thursday. You are both, all three of you are aware that I put in for a local broadband planning grant and a local broadband infrastructure grant, one $50,000 and one $30,000. We put in those applications. The Beaver School District has also put in an application for those same grants. And Beaver School District is doing some interesting things. They already have a grant that's approved for some of the infrastructure to provide broadband across the county. We are hoping, I am hoping, I should speak for myself. I am hoping to kind of piggyback off of his hard work and pair with a private company, a private service that would then extend it, because that network is really meant for student access across the county. So my idea is we pair with a private company and allow access for all individuals, not just the kids in the county. So where they're going to already put in the infrastructure and provide the towers and do the things, we just need to find the right partner, and then we can start moving forward. And so I applied for those two grants to help me in that trajectory. They also applied for those two grants, Beaver School District being they, in order to kind of bolster and build up that project that they've already been approved for. So we're making wide leaps and bounds. For the first time, I can happily report that we are making wide leaps and bounds on broadband. It has felt like a splinter in my soul, truthfully, since the day I started. But we're finally getting to a point where I feel like we're making some significant leaps forward. So I'm very excited about what that means.
So is it, let me ask you a question, because
Yeah.
this has always been our roadblock.
Yes, ma'am.
So a provider that's already here?
Correct.
Okay. Because that's already going to be a non-starter if you're trying to bring somebody new in.
Right, now the idea is that we could look at a cell phone service company who is growing their company to expand to offer broadband. And where they're tower-based, that would be a better pairing than an already established company who does utilities that are located in the ground. So this is above air, so it's an alternative. And so it all works, hopefully, the idea is that it works a little bit better because it's different.
So let me ask you this question. I'm not trying to
No,
interrupt you, but another conversation.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
at our NACO meetings, and I'm serving on the Rural Action Caucus, actually had a really good presentation from Amazon.
Thank you for asking about that.
But here's the deal, so I've got a meeting lined up with the guy that
Fantastic.
is bringing all of the
Satellite?
satellites up to the ground. He heard me introduce myself, and Dan, you're trying to catch up with me.
Yeah.
He goes, I know Beaver County.
Yeah.
And so, I can't remember where I wrote his name down, I bet it's hard too. But, their presentation, and so we gotta find out where we're at on that.
Yes.
On that in the Milford Valley.
Yes.
But their presentation is they're putting a grid of satellites in the air, and then we'll be bouncing off and all that.
I'm so excited that you brought that to the forefront. That's been on the back plate because I wasn't sure where it was. The last time we had talked about it in commission meeting, it was a legal agreement that we needed to send to the company about the road, the access point and stuff like that. So I haven't been updated on where that is recently. But yes, that is going to be the competitor to Starlink essentially. And my understanding is once we can work out that road agreement, or that access agreement, whatever that is, we should have an umbrella effect over essentially our entire county through Amazon based out of Milford, Utah, which is, it feels so good coming out of my mouth to say it out loud like that. So yes, I like to think of it like I'm trying to build a stool, right? I need a couple of legs, I need a couple of different options for this to be a solid seat.
That RMA should be simple. I mean, it couldn't be more than 100 yards.
Yeah, my memory is that was the whole, because they didn't want it.
Yeah, they don't want, and to be honest with you, I don't think there's going to be enough of an impact to even make it, but.
So you could potentially just waive it.
If you have this contact, we may be able to speak logic to that effect and just nail it and have it all done and sealed and signed and delivered, which is my hope. But again, I'm working on a multi-prong attack because if one doesn't come through for whatever reason, I don't want us to fall forward on our faces. And that's where I'm at. So, yeah, very excited.
That's awesome.
But
We need to get
it's
it
coming.
done.
I'm working.
Yeah, I
Need to
think
finish
I
it.
pretty much much got Minersville hardwired.
Done.
But ever since they hardwired Minersville, Milford sucks, I've heard.
Really?
Did it affect you guys?
It didn't seem to
It
affect
did
them.
in town.
I'll have to check with,
Fucking all the juice were about to.
I don't know, that's what my kids are telling me. They said the minute they started digging in Minersville, they're
Interesting.
screwed up.
yeah, Mayor Ward, he gave us an update at economic development meeting, that they're pretty much done digging. They're just gonna be coming through in the spring once the ground is not frozen and awful, again, to fix the holes in the trenches that they've built, but they're all set to go. I'll check in with Michaela and Mayor Davis and see if they feel like there's some kind of struggle there with the, we can certainly send back out the speed test. A few weeks ago, I sent the speed test out on our social media page, for people to go ahead and do the speed test across the county, so we can definitely do another blitz and focus on some areas and some communities and do some things that way. Really trying to build a strong, firm case for multiple facets so that this really takes hold. And I say that, and I know that people do like to come here and like to get off grid. I want to be respectful of that because we're a great destination for that. But I also want.
Well, they get up if they want to.
Yes.
I mean, you
Yes, they can turn
if
off
you
their
want.
phone, yes. That's an entirely, feasible
Choice, yeah.
That's a
option.
personal choice.
But yeah, so we're working on it, and thank you for bringing that up. I've been thrilled to talk about it for a while, but
Thank you.
yep. Anything else?
Have you done any of the Reconnect grant again, the federal grant?
So on the federal Reconnect grant, I have not. I've been focused more on the local ones just because.
That's $1 million, so that's pretty significant.
Yes, and the state of Utah, to be clear, the state of Utah is working on some of that federal funding and allocating it to the counties. When I spoke with the gal out of Rebecca Dilge's office, she said, you know, Beaver's dark and slow, and so you're just gonna get money anyway, so I don't know how much effort you necessarily need to put into this, because we're gonna allocate money for you anyway. I said, well, I always wanna advocate for ourselves, so whatever I can do.
I don't really do that.
But, you know, I can't argue back with somebody who says they're gonna give me money,
Well,
so.
okay. You'll recruit
I'll
them. That's
believe
a
it
little
when I
nice
see
fee.
it.
I tried
But I'm not
to,
gonna hold my breath.
I try to wrap arms with those people,
Show me the way.
stay close and keep it on the forefront of their minds, so. We may have another, they have reached out to me and wanna schedule another talking session with all the parties again. So you may see that coming up on the calendar. So Kevin was working on the map. He worked pretty diligently at the end of the year into the beginning of January, and he kicked back what he had. He found that whatever algorithm or whatever survey system that they use,
Haystacks.
yeah, it was tagging haystacks and sheds, and so he was having a really hard time to dig through all that amidst all of his other
That's
various
what happens when
assignments.
you look at things at a 30,000-foot level on
Yeah.
Google Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he went through a large portion of, on the Beaver side. He said that the Milford side was pretty clean and pretty accurate. He's like, and honestly, if a shed looks like a structure, yeah, that's more needs, right? We're showing more needs than what we actually have, so.
Well, that's county.
Yeah, until somebody shows up and is like, Jen, I can't put internet into a haystack. So there's a fair balance, right? We want to make sure that we get what we need, because eventually one day somebody could build a barn that would have robotics lifting hay and would need some in such a place. So I'm kind of like growth mindset on a little bit of it, but I also want to balance that against firm reality. So possibilities, not improbabilities. Anything else? I miss this fun dance for you guys.
Thank you. I do have one other thing, if I can, real quick. So, the Human Service Council, a board member was Max Anderson, who obviously retired. Travis Lawson took his job. I'm recommending that we appoint him to be that, to fill that position. You guys are okay with that? Yeah, concerned with that. Are you make a motion for that, or just ratify it? Okay. So, I mean, it's not on the agenda, but it's part of business type stuff, I guess, per se. He's fulfilled that role, and they needed someone on that board, so we met last week, and that was vacant, so we discussed it, and I think I'll do that.
A motion?
Yeah. If we will, you could.
I'll make that motion to recommend Travis to the board,
Human Service Council Board.
Human Service Council Board, that's what I didn't know.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, all right, well,
Have you talked to him?
I've talked to Travis already, he's willing to do that, so that should be good. Okay, any other old business, anyone have anything else?
Yeah, can I get my stack of stuff back?
Oh, yes, you wanna do this, yes.
Yeah.
The one that we're gonna make copies of.
Oh, the one, yeah, okay.
Probably doesn't have time to get copies of
Not
it
yet.
yet, but give me my stack.
While she's looking at that, I'm gonna take a 5-minute recess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic.
Did he say hi this morning? That was rude of me.
He did from the distance.
I gave you away. Weird smile.
Did you see his wave or nod?
Something, hopefully something to.
Yeah.
Got the Iron County proposed resolution that we have staff meeting. We'll put it in front of the commission and just send this. This is on 3030.
Oh,
Yeah, the Iron County resolution.
yes.
We put together a proposed draft in the commission.
Good. Good. Because that's why I'm like, you have to push back. You can't just, they're doing that and let it go.
Yeah, and I think there's value in having the state property in your position becomes more harder. And the board has a right to maintain status and boards.
Do you like the amount of trust that I have? I just leave my cell phone, my notebook, my coffee. It's not like with the club scene up in Salt Lake where you have to like cover your stuff or else you
Yes,
get
so we're on.
I appreciate that. I'm sorry to give you more work, but
That's what I do.
when I read through that, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that they're doing something. I mean, in writing,
Yeah,
so
so we're on it.
I appreciate that because I think you follow up where there's personal feel towards it. And I'm doing this just, I mean, like, right now, I'm feeling, I mean, first, and then I don't do this another friendship. And then you find things later. And say, oh, here's my new
Well, I
rendition.
appreciate when you fix some stupidity with grammar errors and stuff.
It happens, but you can't, you know,
Oh,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah,
fix
yeah.
everything.
And so when I catch it, I'll do my best to learn what I can about there's a mistake in the issues and stuff.
It's just human thing.
No, I can't.
I can't do it all. And, you know, that's so. I am my best at but I appreciate it.
Oh, you didn't have a chance to make copies.
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to hire
And-
like,
Oh.
things are coming up. Good.
I know. Good. Oh, rude like I don't on any other day.
Oh, yeah?
Goodness, watch your words.
Yes, I hope you're on vacation.
Watch your words with me, sir.
All day.
I still got work done yesterday.
But they should come and present, they should ask or something.
I know you're right, it was not for long.
Okay.
But this is the last.
Thank you.
But should they send it to us?
They would think.
Ask if,
I don't know.
there's gonna be a problem, isn't there?
Well,
And then ready to get turned off their
Right.
yeah. All right, welcome back to the commission meeting. Tammy has, Commissioner Pearson has a few more items, right?
You can call me Tammy,
Tammy's
the
back.
answer that. Yeah, I got a couple of things on, from NACO. So this, we had several presentations during, our public lands, you know, that gives a little bit more background on the America the Beautiful, which is Biden's directive, and this is just insane, but anyway, the Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland, this is her quote: "The ambition of this goal reflects the urgency of the challenges we face. We need to do more to safeguard the drinking water, clean air, food supplies, and wildlife upon which we all depend. We need to fight climate change with the natural solution that our forests, agricultural lands, and oceans provide, and the need to give every child in America the chance to experience the wonders of nature." So when you look at the back, I mean, you know, this is all part of this administration thing. It's pretty scary. You know, we've been talking about 30 by 30 for years, but now they've renamed it to America the Beautiful, just so that you can't protest it. We also talked about wildland fires, droughts, you know, and they're blaming everything on climate change, but legacy pollution is a new language. That's all about the war against coal, oil and gas. I mean, it's nuts, the stuff, the propaganda they were selling back there. Tribal investments, which I have nothing against that. Ecosystem restoration, which means we want everything wilderness. We're staring down the barrel of the Red Rock Initiative, which is wilderness proposals everywhere. And we've been watching that. I've talked to Kevin on several different things. Talked to Reg Johnson with Plitco. We're working on the state resource management plan, and we did a year ago, we did a big, oh God, it's 30-something pages worth of documentation of acreage that's gone in under the WRI program, under GIP, under, equip projects on agriculture on private land, all of these things to put our record on permit record. We get them, a lot of those kind of things, and changing up, or not changing, adding to the state resource management plan, which, as we all know, is like with planning and zoning, our county resource management plan, it's a living, breathing document, so that's how we need to continue to adapt to that. We talked a lot about the endangered species, which you wouldn't think, but even Beaver County has a lot of that. I skipped over the red rock thing, I don't have a map on that, but, and I don't know the exact acreage, but if you pull up the map, half of the West Desert is under that wilderness stuff. They've got some of the middle mountains, is, proposed wilderness up to the walls, a lot of the Wawas and much of that out west. It's not, I don't know if Stephanie can pull it up or not.
Which one?
Can you just Google, I don't know how much time you got. If you just Google, Red Rock Wilderness Act, and then you can pull it up. Anyway, and then, so we've got, the Weir Western Interstate Region meeting on Sunday, and everybody's excited to come to St. George for the conference in May, and we're gonna try and do a big presentation on the resource management plan there, and see how much, what we can do to update all of that. There's so many meetings, it's just like stacked on stacked.
Yeah, there it is. There's the
Yeah,
other.
so, if you click on the map, I think there's a place where you can click on the map. Minerals and Wawas, and then, out in Pine Valley. There's community
Whole bunch of
management.
minerals.
Yeah.
Looks like, probably like a TV going all the way.
Yeah, so that's all the granites right there.
Yeah.
So we already have wilderness study areas that are locked up, which is that bottom left corner. Yep, that's already locked up, but look at how much more acreage they want to try and lock up. And this is SUA's proposal. And what the fair is right now is that Biden's going to do that as his monument designation. It's just, yeah.
Follow their recommendations and.
Make it be a monument.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That'd be huge.
So, I've been in, we've been having a lot of meetings with Flipco and that, and then, on the national level, everybody's opposing this. It's been in the works for quite a while, but now that they've weaponized the, Antiquities Act and the president's ability for one man to wave a wand and put all that acreage in, it's really scary, because Sue's got him by the throat.
That's good.
Anyway, there's just some updates as far as that goes.
Thank you. We'll go back to our settings.
Well, it's an ongoing battle, and the strength of not only UAC, the Utah Association of Counties, but the Western Interstate Region and the National Association, and that's why President Johnson put me on the Public Lands Committee, is we can fight this as a whole. We're not fighting at Beaver County by ourselves, right? And so, hopefully you guys can make it down to the WIR in May. Yeah, it's, sometimes the January, but, seventeenth, eighteenth, and nineteenth. Tree, I'm not sure which these public lands are gonna be, but,
Trying to make that sure.
yeah.
Well, I think on behalf of the county, I want to thank you for going out there, because DC is not fun for any of us really, so thanks for going representing.
Well, you'll be happy to know that, you know, even though I'm sitting in meetings, I put 16 out, like you have to run from building to
Your
building
steps
to
got
building.
in?
And my watch was not saying, get off your butt and get walking. It was like, you should be running.
Take a break.
Time for a break, huh? That's awesome.
But our first meeting on Friday, I do have to say, for our congressional briefing tour that we do every year, we had our
Oh,
recent
they're both
reunion.
massive.
And we had 3 of the national presidents there. Larry Johnson, Denise Winfrey was here last year, Larry from the year before, and then our new incoming NACO president. And she's bouncing, she's a little energizer bunny, she's bouncing off the walls. So everybody's raving about this, and then even at the conference, we got a huge shout out about the things that we're accomplishing on a national level, because we're reaching across the aisle and bringing people from not only the Democratic side, but just Eastern people that have no idea what Western issues are on public lands and that. So they made a big deal about it back there. It was just the rage.
Do you have a date on that, in August by chance? I think you may have told us before.
Yeah, and
But
I think we might have moved it because we're having some pushback on we had it the 13th through the 17th. I think we're gonna move it up a week. The 6th to the 10th, I think. We should move that
Perfect. Anything else? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the work you do, the relationships you make, those are what's really important, that people respect you, and that's a good thing, so it helps us all.
If you ever need a phone call, or somebody that, or a phone number, I mean, the contact, I probably got it.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Yardy, have anything?
No, I've been talking to Corey quite a bit, and just working on the roads, the bridge going into Green Meadow, that's coming.
Oh, in Greenwood down here, yes.
Yeah, James and DeVille, he wanted them to help him on setting that first one, and then the one going into the Grove is happening pretty soon also.
Okay.
So just a couple little things, nothing major, so.
Okay.
He's excited, ready to get going, ready to be done with winter time and get on the spring.
Oh, it's been such a nightmare.
He's got another round of snow coming up, and he's ready for that, so we'll just keep going.
How much salt you got on hand?
I went past yesterday, I think they're okay still, unless it really gets bad, but they were good on the west side of the county anyway.
Well, they've done a good job.
It's been a lot of work, that snow.
We finally had a winner.
Yes, and it's a good winter.
It's a good one.
The last storm, it was only maybe an inch in Milford, but all the snow got in the
Mine was a hammer.
Might as well.
I was glad I missed it. Like, I come home, nobody shoveled my sidewalks, but they plowed my driveway.
Yeah, but it's no.
I couldn't believe the difference between Minersville and Milford.
But Milford got it the last time.
Yeah.
Ton of it, and Murrayville and Beaver didn't get how many
Moved
years.
out there.
Yeah.
So that's everything that I had, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for covering for me while I was gone, because that was hard to keep track of things on the hill, so.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Ginger, do you have anything else? Counselor?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I have one thing, Paula, asked me yesterday if we would like to have our spring meeting in the, old courthouse again, and just to let her know what date that would be as soon as we know.
Yes, we would love it.
I think we've usually been doing that in June, aren't we?
Yeah, I was looking at June 6th,
Sounds wonderful.
so.
You okay with that, everyone?
I'm good with it, I know Ginger's not crazy about it. She's got it figured out.
It's cool.
Well, it's kind of the grand opening, and, you know, we need to encourage people to be there as much as possible.
A little more challenging for Ginger, huh?
Yeah, it's just that.
Record keeping and stuff, yeah.
And there's, I mean,
It's on
how much
microphone.
for Daddy
they have no project.
It takes you back.
Well,
We can make copies.
Well, it's easy to listen to. I mean, the sound of the rhythm's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We have a portable PA system if we need a PA system. The exception of it.
We don't want anybody to hear us anyways.
Well, I just don't know how you gather the recording off of the TV. That's the thing, it's gathering the recording. But it seems like it's fine for me to run through.
Like you hearing this stuff good enough that we can get the information that we need.
Okay, I'll just.
Well, essentially, it's fine on that, if there's nothing changes, then we'll,
Okay,
let's fine on.
all right. Okay.
That's it? Okay.
Those are kind of one of the ones there.
All right, nothing else, I'm gonna call the meeting adjourned. Thank you for being here, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, thank you.
Let me see where they want to get that. Would you like to meet with the county? Would you like to?
Sure.
Should have all this, or you want all speak?
If possible. Whatever next time, we can make the idea.
Okay. And then go into, already, what you can.
Okay, fantastic. All right, I'm gonna show you where we're going.
Okay.
She's not gonna tell you where to go.
No.